Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. The focus of my presentation and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel in Discord is options, order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step of my process is execution, and I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow with Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups for entries and exits. And on-topic questions or comments are welcome, and I will be watching the Options-Doug chat channel in Discord and the chat in YouTube for your questions and comments. All right, let's get started. So what I want to talk about today, just very briefly, economic data and events for the week. Then we'll go through our positional analysis and plan for the day, and then finally talk about some setups. So first of all, today, of course, this week the big event was the FOMC meeting, announcement, and press conference on Wednesday, and then today there was some minor economic data that didn't seem to have much impact on the market. The durable goods orders and PMI data. All right, let's go through our positional analysis now. And this is the S&P 500 ES futures in Bookmap. And before I dig into this chart, I'm going to take a look at a larger time frame. And this is the S&P 500 SPX index. And this is showing just price and key Spotgamma levels. And these levels are provided to Spotgamma subscribers in a ThinkScript. And you do have to, there's some manual work in updating that. It takes a couple of minutes. So again, this is SPX, price, and key gamma levels. And just to point out a few here, this is the 3800 put wall, the strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And then the volatility trigger at 3960. And that is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma flip level, meaning that market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative below that level and positive above. In a negative gamma environment, they have to hedge against price, trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. And above that level, in a positive gamma environment, they have to trade, a negative gamma environment, they're trading with price. In a positive gamma environment, they're trading against price to hedge their delta exposure. And then finally, up above at the 4065 level, that's the call wall, the strike with the largest net positive gamma, and that can be expected to act as resistance. And then also the 4000 level, that's the key gamma strike or absolute gamma strike, and that's the strike with the largest absolute gamma, and that can be expected to act as support, resistance, or a magnet for price. So those are the key levels that are in range for this chart today. And of course now we can we'll take a closer look and see the levels that are in play for today. We'll take a look at a 1 day, 1 minute chart. Again, this is Thinkorswim showing the same levels, just zoomed in. So just today is shown on the chart. Again, a 1 day, 1 minute chart. And here is the SPX 3900 level, and this 3917 level was noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note, and it acted as very good support a couple of times, just around 10:30 and 11:15, something like that. And now price has finally moved up above the 3950 level, and that was noted as a pivot level in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note, and now price is heading up toward the volatility trigger. So those are the levels that are in play for today. Again, that's a Thinkorswim 1 day, 1 minute chart. Now let's take a look at Bookmap. And the same levels are shown on this chart. And I have two columns of levels here. And the first is Spotgamma Cloud Notes, again provided to Spotgamma subscribers. They provide these levels for a variety of platforms. And here I'm showing the levels in Spotgamma Cloud Notes. These are updated automatically. Right now, Spotgamma is using a 30-point difference between ES and SPX, and I calculated that at 29 points, that difference. So I'm showing that level just 1 point down here in my cloud notes, that C levels column. So the things that both of these columns are showing are the key SPX levels. There's the 3960 volatility trigger, the 3950 pivot level, the 3917 support level, and then I'm also showing key SPY levels, and that's the 390 put wall key gamma strike, and it did act as support. After the RTH open. And then also in my cloud notes, I'm showing the big round numbers in ES, the zeros and the 50s. All right, so that's the levels that are in play for today. And after a choppy morning, just after 11 a.m., that may be may coincide with the European close, that the S&P 500 ES SPX SPY did a final retest of the SPY 390 level and the SPX 3917 support level, and has been moving higher. All right, so that's the SPX, and we'll go over setups in more detail in a few minutes. All right, let's talk about shifts in levels, and there were very few. For the S&P 500, the only shift higher was the shift lower, actually. The SPX volatility trigger shifted lower from the 4,000 level yesterday to 3960. And again, that's Spotgamma's proprietary gamma flip level, with market makers positioned on the gamma curve negative below that level and positive above. And that can act as support and resistance. So we'll watch and see what happens with that level now at SPX, ES, SPY are just below that level. All right, so that is it for the S&P 500. And then for QQQ, the volatility trigger increased from 305 yesterday to 309 today. And then the key gamma strike increased from 310, from 300 yesterday to 310 today. And one thing I want to take a look at, while I'm talking about the NASDAQ, let's go to QQQ, take a look at history here. And this is showing the key daily levels for the last 10 days. And just want to point out that this is confirming the bullish price action in the in QQQ and the NASDAQ. This is the key gamma strike. Notice that it has increased from 290 10 days ago, gradually up to 310 today, and that is bullish. Traders are positioning themselves at higher prices, looking for higher prices. And the same with the hedge wall. Also the call wall increasing. And notice the put wall has remained the same at the 285 level. All right, so that's the QQQ, the shifts in levels. And again, the increase in, it's called the hedge wall here, it's the volatility trigger for an index. So the increase in the key gamma strike and the volatility trigger for QQQ. All right, let's take a look at gamma levels now, absolute gamma levels, and we'll get a clearer picture of where these levels come from. So we'll start with the S&P 500. These are absolute gamma levels, first of all for SPX. This is the zero line, the horizontal line, and above that line, that is positive gamma or call gamma, market makers position at those strikes. And below that line, that's negative gamma or put gamma. Positive gamma or call gamma is shown with the black bars. Negative gamma or put gamma is shown with the teal bars. And this is pretty obvious, the 4,000 level, the key gamma strike, the strike with the largest absolute gamma. And here is the put wall at 3,800. Again, the strike with the largest net negative gamma can be expected to act as support. And then here is the 4065 strike. That is the call wall, the strike with the largest net positive gamma. And that is also the short call strike of the JP Morgan collar that expires at the end of this month on March 31st. All right, so that is SPX. Now we'll take a look at SPY. And for SPY, 390 is the absolute gamma strike, and that's also the put wall. And that did act as support today. So that is the put wall and the key gamma strike. And then the 402 level is the call wall, the strike with the largest net positive gamma. And one other thing that I want to point out here, let's take a look at these combo levels. And this is showing combined strikes of SPX and SPY, the gamma at those levels, and then this is converted to an equivalent SPX number and shown on this chart. And again, the zero line marks negative gamma or put gamma below, and positive gamma or call gamma above. And recall the 3917 recall Recall the 3917 strike noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note and shown on my charts, and this is where that comes from, that combo level. And again, Spotgamma, Brent Gachuba noted that as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. And RJ asked, could you explain the importance of the JP Morgan collar, if any? And well, first of all, I urge you to look back in the archives. I don't know if my sessions were recorded that far back in December. I think it was maybe the 38, 35, something like that. That was the short call strike of the JP Morgan collar, and that acted as support. So if price, as a magnet for price, so as if price is close enough, that can act as a magnet for price. So at the 40.65 level, most likely the SPX would be in a positive gamma environment. So that means that market makers are trading against price. So in a positive gamma environment around that strike, let's say price is above that level, then market makers would be trading against price, selling futures as price increased, and potentially bringing price back to that level, and the same from below. If price is close to that level in a positive gamma environment, market makers will be buying futures as price decreases, tending to move price back to that strike. But if price is far away, let's say price is much further down, 3,900, 3,800, something like that, that strike will not come into play. So you could, I think, probably search in the Spotgamma YouTube channel and find something about that as well. Okay, so those are the gamma levels for S&P 500. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. So for NASDAQ, we just look at QQQ. NDX is not significant. So for QQQ, remember the bullish increase in the key daily levels for the past 10 days. And now the 310 level is the key gamma strike. And that is, again, the strike with the largest absolute gamma. And the put wall remains at 285. Way down here, the strike with the largest net negative gamma. And then the call wall at 320. Strike with the largest absolute positive gamma. All right, let's take a look at data. And I usually, as usual, I focus on the gamma notional. This is market maker's position on the gamma curve. And this is for SPX in the left column, SPY in the middle column, and then QQQ on the far right column. And notice all these numbers are negative, indicating that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, so they're in a negative gamma position on the gamma curve, and they have to sell futures with price as price drops to increase to hedge their delta exposure, and as price increases, they can buy back their short futures. So they're trading with price to hedge their delta exposure in a negative gamma environment. And the changes in these in gamma notional levels was mixed. Excuse me, was mixed from yesterday. Yesterday, SPX gamma notional was minus 79, and it has shifted much more negative to minus 453. And then on the other hand, there was just a minor change in SPY gamma notional from minus 1997 to minus 1952. So it became slightly less negative. And then also for QQQ, yesterday gamma notional was minus 230. Today it's minus 102. So still negative, but less negative. And we can take a look at the Vanna charts, which provide a graphical illustration of what I was just talking about. And this is showing market makers delta notional on the vertical axis and strike price on the horizontal axis. And this green curve is showing how market makers delta notional changes with changes in price, again shown on the horizontal axis, as well as changes in implied volatility, and that's for the current expiration. And that's the Vanna effect, the change in delta with a change in implied volatility. So again, this is showing in a negative gamma environment, market makers delta notional will increase as price decreases, and they have to sell futures as price decreases. And then if price increases and implied volatility drops, they can buy back their short futures. And then the black curve is showing how their delta notional changes as time passes, and that's the charm effect, the change in delta with a change in time as time passes. So that is SPX, and we can just compare that with yesterday and see the change from fairly neutral yesterday to just slightly negative to much more negative today. And then here's SPY, and today gamma notional for SPY is about 4 times the gamma notional of SPX, so the curve is a lot steeper. And then just note the very small change from day to day. And then here is QQQ. And again, just slightly negative at minus 102. All right, so that's the Vanna curve showing, again, just illustrating what I was just talking about. All indices in a negative gamma environment. Market makers position on the gamma curve for SPX, SPY, and QQQ still negative. All right, let's wrap up the positional analysis and planning with these key daily notes. And actually, we'll look at Equity Hub for some additional information. So this is just for a quick glance and an indication of some possible stocks to trade today, and an indication for further investigation. So what I'm showing is the key gamma strike for all the stocks on my watch list, and the far right column, the E column showing the previous key gamma strike, is the key gamma strike from yesterday, and the current key gamma strike, the D column, is the key gamma strike for today. And I compare the number from yesterday, from today to yesterday, and I color code these just for a quick, easy reference. And green indicates that number increased from the previous day. And I interpret that as bullish. Traders are positioning themselves for higher prices, particularly in single stocks, and they're looking for higher prices. That's what they expect, and that's how they're positioning themselves, and that's how they're trading. So the note today, the increase in the key gamma strike for Microsoft, NVIDIA, and QQQ. All right, so just based on this, I was initially, or just on the surface here, bullish on these stocks, with a caveat for NVIDIA. and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So maybe somebody can answer. So it's Friday, and what do we look for on Friday? I'll give you a few minutes. So Friday, remember, stocks, single stocks have Friday expirations, and traders are there you go, Carmo trades, you get the price for today, call gamma unwind. So that's right. So before we say take a bullish stance on Nvidia and any of these stocks, really, we'll take a look at Equity Hub and sort this list by next expiry gamma percent. And notice, so the thing that I'm doing is, again, sorting this list, and I'm looking for anything, any number over 30%. So it will be, this will be much more an in-place situation on the monthly expirations, the third Friday of the month. But for stocks, we can look at this every Friday. So I'm typically going to look for numbers that are around 30% or higher, and also the top gamma expiration date being today, 3/24. So these are the three stocks that come into play. And Netflix, I just added this to my watch list today, just a couple of hours ago. And if we have time, I'll look at that. That's on my other computer, and Bookmap on my other computer. And if we have time, we'll take a look at that. I'll add it to my main computer, Bookmap in my main computer for Monday. It's been in play and showing good price action. But anyway, the first stock on the list is Nvidia, and we'll take a look at Netflix, but then AMD. So these are two stocks that I'm looking for a call gamma unwind. So the next step is to go to this chart. The easiest thing is just to look at this composite view in Equity Hub and see that it's call dominated above the 275 level. That is the call wall. All right, so call dominated above the 275 level. And let's just take a look at history. So note, there were some definitely some increases in these key daily levels. So if this was earlier in the week, I would not even look at that next expiry gamma percent. I would be bullish on this stock like I was yesterday. But today is Friday. Traders, this 42.4% of gamma expiring today is a strong signal in a call-dominated stock to look for a short. Even though key gamma strike increased, hedge wall increased, and the put wall increased. Again, this all depends on the day of the week. All right, so mixed picture on Nvidia here. A lot of gamma expiring, call domination above 275, but bullish increases in these levels. So the key for all these stocks is to confirm your thesis with order flow and hedging flow. So we'll show that in just a minute. All right, the next is AMD. And no changes in the key daily levels for AMD. And note this is 27%. It's not as strong a case for a call gamma unwind, but there is a domination of call gamma above the 105 strike. All right, so that is the thesis for NVIDIA and AMD, and then recall the rising key gamma strike for Microsoft and QQQ. So we'll take a look at Microsoft first. And note there is some call domination above the 290 level, but that is all out in the April monthly expiration. So call gamma unwind really doesn't come into play for today. So that is Microsoft, and let's take a look at the history for Microsoft. And this is how I go through my process. So again, the first step is that key gamma strike. That gave me an indication to look at Microsoft more closely. And also, I've mentioned before that I go through this history for every stock in my watch list as I fill out the spreadsheet that provides the levels that I show on my C levels columns in all my charts. So Microsoft, here I see that the key gamma strike increased from 270 to 280, but the call wall decreased from 300 to 280. So a little bit of a mixed picture, but I interpreted this as a build of gamma and potential magnet at that 280 level. All right, so that's Microsoft, and we've looked at QQQ. We'll take a quick look again. So we can see again the gradual increase in the key gamma strike from 290 now to 310. The increase in the volatility trigger, increase in the call wall. So all bullish for QQQ. And there is some gamma expiring today for QQQ at 23%, a little bit lower than the 30% threshold. But again, it's worth watching order flow and hedging flow. So bullish increase in key daily levels, but a potential for some call gamma unwind. Let's just take a look at the composite view, and here this will confirm that will not really be in play. This is all red below, indicating put dominance throughout the price range shown on this chart. So not call dominated. The call gamma unwind does not come into play. All right, so let's take a look at some setups now. And again, we have a thesis for the day for AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and QQQ, and we're going to confirm all of those with order flow and hedging flow. So let's go to Hero now. This is the hedging impact of real-time options. And this is for AMD. We'll start with AMD. And this is showing bearish hedging flow. For those of you who may not be familiar with this chart, this is Spotgamma Hero, hedging impact of real-time options. And the white line is price, and the purple line is showing hedging impact. Hedging is showing options trades and market maker hedging in terms of it's a notional, delta notional value, dollar value. And the magnitude of that is shown over here in the right. So definitely negative delta today, bearish. Traders are taking negative delta positions, selling calls and buying or buying puts. So let's go to Bookmap now, and we'll go to AMD. And the bearish thesis did play out in AMD. So far, still playing out. The best move was in the morning. So just as a further explanation, the way this works is during the week, traders have been buying calls and market makers sell the calls. So they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And traders typically, for many stocks, especially stocks that are more actively traded, are buying calls that expire at the end of the week. So at the end of the week, those calls that are losing value due to charm, they're close to expiration, they're losing value. Market makers' delta exposure decreases. They no longer need those long stock hedges, so they can sell their stock hedges. Excuse me just a second. So they can sell their stock hedges, and that is the call gamma unwind. So AMD, we've confirmed with hedging flow, and now we can, here in Bookmap, confirming with order flow as well. And there were some good setups this morning, mostly with reversals at or pullbacks here to price and the 99 level and VWAP, and then another pullback to VWAP with the price target at the 97 hedge wall level, and so far that is acting as support. So here is the 97 hedge wall. Notice the concentration of liquidity at that level and the 98 level. So there are a couple of ways to play this. You could sell shares or buy a put, either way. And the easiest thing to do was just at the open, or as soon as you could, buy a put, and good for a couple of 2 points move down. All right, so that's AMD, and let's take a look at NVIDIA now. And let's go take a look at Hero for NVIDIA. And let's zoom in on the morning. Definitely Hero confirming the move lower. Again, traders taking negative delta positions. Hero dropping and price moves in the same direction. All right, let's go to take a look at Bookmap. So the same deal here. Just you could buy a put. Notice you can see the reversal at the 270 key gamma strike with the 260, 265 put wall hedge wall level as a primary target, and intermediate targets at the 267 liquidity level, 266, and again the primary target, notice the highest liquidity there at the 265 level. Or enter at pullbacks to VWAP or close to it. Okay, that's NVIDIA. So far two for two with our call gamma unwind. And recall Netflix was also on that list. And let's go take a look at Hero for Netflix. And again, recall for AMD and NVIDIA, Hero hedging flow did confirm the call gamma unwind. Let's just take a look at NVIDIA and see what traders are doing. So they're actually buying calls slightly, but selling more puts than calls. So that is what has been moving price lower. All right, so let's take a look at Netflix. I'm going to zoom in a bit. So kind of a mixed picture for Netflix, but definitely in the morning, overall bullish. And let's just see what traders are doing. So they're buying calls. So as long as traders are buying calls, and I've zoomed out all the way, as long as traders are buying calls, then market makers need to continue to sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. So in this situation, with a positive Hero, this call gamma unwind doesn't happen. So again, we're confirming with hedging flow and order flow. So if I have time at the end, I'll go take a look at Netflix on my other computer. Let's take a look at the combined signal again. So this number is positive dollar notional value. All right, so that's Netflix. Then let's go to the other stocks that were in my plan for the day. So let's go to Microsoft now, and that was definitely the best bullish setup that I saw today. And strong confirmation with hedging flow and price action. Notice the slightly increasing Hero. We're flat to slightly increasing as price drops, setting up the first entry here, just around 950, something like that. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Take a look at Microsoft. And here's that first entry right around 950, kind of a deep pullback. Let's zoom in on that. I'm going to zoom in on the morning session. So you can see the shift in order flow here. All these green dots, market buy orders coming in. These are aggressive buyers with market buy orders. And there's a question in YouTube, what does Hero say about SPY? And I'll get to that in a few minutes. All right, so the first pullback there confirmed by Hero and order flow. The reversal around the 276 level. and then pullback entries to VWAP before around 1010 to 1020, something like that. And note the primary target, and Microsoft is moving pretty slowly today, but the primary target at the 280 call wall and key gamma strike, and note the high liquidity at that level. And Microsoft still can't seem to make it to that 280 level and just keeps pulling back to VWAP over and over again. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. All right, a very choppy day in QQQ. Let's go take a look at Hero. So bullish for Microsoft as expected. Take a look at QQQ. And pretty choppy, difficult to read. And perhaps a bullish divergence here at this, starting at 1050 with the increase in Hero. Then price responds sometime later. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. So you could really read this in order flow and Bookmap a little bit easier. All these green dots coming in at a reversal higher at the 307 level. Buy sweep shown by the small green dots. And this quick jump up to the 310 key gamma strike level. I thought AMD and NVIDIA and Microsoft were much easier to plan and read both in order flow and in hedging flow. All right, so that's QQQ. And let's take a look at Meta now. So bearish order flow here in Meta today. Let's just go take a look at, we'll take a look at Hero and take a look at Equity Hub. So here's Meta. And up until about 12:30, hedging flow was definitely bearish. Following Hero, price oscillates up and down, but follows Hero. Traders taking negative delta positions. Let's just take a look at Equity Hub here for Meta. And there were some gamma expiring today, 21%. That is today. But heavy call dominance. Above the 200 level. And that's shown by the brighter green color here. Put dominance in red below 200. Call dominance in green above the 200 level. All right, let's go back and take a look at Bookmap. Well, there were order flow is definitely bearish today. Notice all the pink dots, market sell orders. Price making a series of lower highs and excursions up just above VWAP several times, provided good short entries. All right, let's take a look at the S&P 500 now. Go take a look at SPY. And SPY is definitely bullish today. And now it looks like price is still trying to make it above the 3960 volatility trigger. These are my cloud notes for SPY. And I'm showing first of all, the key SPX levels. So I calculate the ratio of SPX to SPY, and then I note those levels on my SPY chart. And then also I'm showing every SPY level, every whole number, and just a basic whole number shown in yellow there. And then the gamma levels, spot gamma levels, in white with red text and a white line. So that L395 is an LG2 level, large gamma 2. All right, so let's take a look at Hero now. And let me try something. This has not been working earlier today. The S&P 500 signal, and price is not working for some reason. This is a combined signal of SPX, SPY, and XSP. And this is typically what I use for the S&P 500, whether I'm looking at ES, futures, or SPY. But I know Spotgamma is doing some work on this particular signal. So it is price, the white line, for some reason is not correct today. So we'll look at SPX. But normally, again, for the S&P 500, I look at that combined signal. But today we'll have to look at SPX and SPY separately. And for the SPX, this is definitely confirming the bullish price action. Hero is positive. So that is SPX. Let's take a look at SPY. And this is why I look at the combined signal. Here, notice this is neutral up until about noon, then bearish. And this is actually pretty typical of the S&P 500. Traders will fade moves. So as price starts to move up to the 39 SPX 3950 level and the volatility trigger at 3960, traders start to fade that move. And most likely they're buying puts and buying calls, but they're buying more puts than calls. And yes, that is the case. So that is kind of an ominous number there, 666 million positive for calls, positive delta, versus 1.66 billion minus 1.66 billion. So like I expected, they're buying calls and buying puts, but they're buying more puts than calls. The total notional value is negative. at minus 983. For SPY, let's take a look at SPX. So now it's minus 102 billion. And for SPX, positive minus 597. So you take the difference and it would be negative for the S&P 500. All right, so let's go take a look at the ES now. See if we can gain any additional information. So this is showing, I'm looking at the lines in the subchart here, showing all of these lines gradually increasing. The light blue is iceberg orders. These are what larger traders use to hedge their, to buy, to hide their size. So they use these iceberg orders, again, to hide their size, and they here they're trading with price, helping to move price higher. And that's also shown with these blue numbers here, the on-chart indicator. The blue numbers showing large traders buying. And the next thing is the dark blue line, that's cumulative volume delta, and that's positive. And then finally the rising yellow line, those are stop orders, so buy stop orders. So hedging flow slightly bearish, but the order flow is definitely bullish here. And it can be easily seen in Bookmap. So we know cumulative volume delta is high, stops are positive, and icebergs as well. And that's also shown here. All these numbers are positive. And here this is showing the buy stops, helping to drive price higher. All these small green dots. And so QQQQ Trader and YouTube, quite the difference between SPY and SPX, yes. That's why I like to take a look at the combined signal instead of looking at each separately and combining them for myself. But anyway, this is what it is. This is what's driving price. Large traders with iceberg orders, all traders with stop orders, maybe retail traders, and then also aggressive buyers, shown with the green dots and the cumulative volume delta. All right, let's wrap it up. We'll take a look at Tesla, and then we'll call it a day and a week. So Tesla has been kind of all over the place recently. Not as easy to trade as some other stocks. Let's take a look at Hero for Tesla. So there's Tesla overall. Overall in the morning, negative Hero, and then shifts to bullish. Traders taking positive delta positions somewhere starting around 11:30. So as usual with Tesla, there's a very strong correlation between hedging flow and price action. Let's go back to Bookmap. So there's Tesla. All right, that is all that I have for today. And RJ asked, do I ever look at multi-day Hero, for example, with Tesla? And I do occasionally. So what RJ is referring to is the history in Hero with the latest update Now, Spotgamma is providing 5 days of back history in Hero, and if I'm doing a review over the weekend, I may look at that last 5 days, but typically I don't. Typically, I'm just using the default settings for Hero, which is the total signal, calls and puts, 1 day look back period for today. Okay, again, that's all I have. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks again. Bye.